Hello everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of Prismata. Let's dive into the queue here and try to get some more wins. Or, you know, it wouldn't be a shocker to get some more losses either, but at least we'll have played some more games of Prismata, which is fun. Oh, Shalev is playing. Wait, also, Unoriginal is not somebody's Smurf. Oh yeah, he is. Master tier, but no ranking. Okay. So Shalev is one of the original developers of Prismata. I don't know if he/she, I can't really tell what's going on in that picture, still works on the game at all, or just plays. But there's at least some of the Prismata design theory, like how do you make good units, came from Shalev, and we still have... As I say, not how do you choose what units are good to buy, but how do you choose what units are good to add to the game of Prismata. Some of that came from Shalev, and as I understand, the rating system is also somewhat designed by Shalev. I know that the rating parameters, you know, are labeled with like Shalev V and Shalev U or whatever, are somehow some concept of the game's perception of how good you are. I don't know the details about that. But the thing that I think made the most difference is Shalev's domination rule about how to design good units, which we can talk more about some other day, because I got a game of Prismata to play. Or you can just look it up, Shalev's domination rule. A lot of base +5 today. Did I not update in the queue? No, I have. Okay, so looks like tricolor here with like Urban Sentry and Arms Race are both good. Nitrocide like helps you spend some excess red if you need it. So player 2, I think we're going Natural Conduit into Natural Blast Forge. 90-second game. Good to know. Don't waste any of that time bank. Gonna need it someday. I could build Blast Forge Animus this turn. I don't think we want to be so low econ, but it would be interesting. If my opponent does something super greedy, like build a 3rd engineer, I think I will do that. No, an Animus. Okay. You can spend tricolor pretty cheaply in this set. I think it might be right to just get it all now. Not bother with any more drones. Get the first arms race on the table. If I arms race though, I'm building what, a Nitrocide to go with it? I guess that's okay. I think I'm gonna try that. I feel like I want slightly more than 11 drones, but 11 is workable. And getting out some arms races will help, I think. And if my opponent is stuck on mono red, I feel pretty happy. Right? That's what this response is about provoking him to either, well, him or her, to either like not get blue or else waste some tech this turn. Okay, Corpus. But now you're not building any attackers. That's great news for me. And it makes my arms races even more valuable because the value in arms race is giving your opponent defenders that they don't yet need. And if your opponent builds extra defense, then the arms race value is even higher. I'd like at some point to get an Urban Sentry, but if you're going to build Corpus, I'll build another arms race. And it lets me get a Tarsier as well because I floated the gold last turn. And I'll happily hold this Steel Splitter back, saving 2 damage for myself as opposed to dealing 1 to my opponent. Sure. But now is my perfect time to pick up the Urban Sentry and, like, Tarsier or Nitrocybe or something. I don't think I really want another arms race yet. I'm thinking about whether to click this Nitrocybe. I don't think it matters very much. If I click it now, it's killing an engineer. I'll always have that option available later, so I might as well save it, and then maybe in some weird universe I would defend with it somehow. This preserves the option. And killing the engineers immediately doesn't really help at all. Hang on. What if I were to, like, build a Corpus instead of Tarsier or Nitrocybe? Is that bad? It seems bad. But it lets me click this guy. That's an interesting idea. Then I'll have cheap defense available, and I can, like, Arms Race plus Corpus click next turn. And I don't have to hold back my Steel Splitter. It's equal value clicking or not clicking the Steel Splitter now, whereas before it was bad value to click. Now it's equal. I like the idea of putting on some more pressure and developing the Corpus while I can. Probably should have still held the Nitrocybe, of course. The same arguments about clicking it apply. I like how this game is going. I have way more attack, and I don't think my opponent is really able to make use of the engineers that I've gifted him to do anything useful. He's just having spent his blue on defending, which means he can't counter with Arms Race. Would it be good for him to counter with Arms Race? Maybe not at this point. It would just let me build more Arms Races. Okay. I think I will have to click the Corpus this turn, which is fine. But if I don't have to, I can build another Tarsier, which is also fine. Right, whatever I do with my red, I'm happy. Okay, clicks Corpus. Why? So that he doesn't have to spend his blue defending. So I guess now you unclick the Tarsier, you unbuild the Tarsier and build an Arms Race, is the idea? Because otherwise you're not really using it. What? Why would you do this? Float the blue? I don't know, I guess it's fine, like... This is a more efficient wall than wall is, but you're using up the click here, whereas you... to let you float a blue, which is not that amazing. One more Arms Race should be good. And this is probably the last Arms Race I'll be able to build. Gonna have to start building like wall and Corpus click and Tarsier or Nitrocybe or something. Or if I have enough tempo, maybe instead of wall I can build Urban Sentry. That would be nice. I don't know if I'll be able to though. I haven't counted it out. I'll figure it out when I have to make the decision. So this last Arms Race was actually not nearly as good as the first two, because he's using these engineers right away to get tempo to let him build attackers, right? So that last one was questionable, but I think it's fine. Get out some attackers. Yeah, okay, so I can't quite build an Urban Sentry here, unless I, like, Force Field? It's a little scary. Right, I could do something like this. But then next turn, like, I'm not going to be able to develop another corpus anytime soon. What if I built a wall instead? What would come with that? A single nitrocide, basically. So what this does is it lets me delay building my force field. I'd rather just build another attacker and get the force field out sooner. When am I gonna be able to build another corpus? I would certainly like to do that, but I don't have enough drones to build corpus plus wall, and I don't envision myself building just corpus anytime soon. I guess I could do that and lose the urban sentry on that turn, maybe? To let me develop another corpus? Is that good? Doesn't seem great. Maybe this is just my last corpus. Double force field? Oh, I see, yes, sure, to keep from losing an urban sentry. So here I am defended, but I'm losing a sentry. I don't think I can build any more Tarsiers. I think just nitrocides are the way to go. And that lets me build an engineer or this. I like this actually because this way I can actually get out another corpus while developing a wall. And then get back to being able to clicking corpus again. Being able to click, I should say. I like this idea a lot. And I will still be granular next turn, so I won't have to worry about... Yeah. This looks alright. I can hold nitrocide back to defend if I need to as well. I think getting the corpus out is enough tempo that it's worth it. Or not enough tempo, enough value. That it's worth sacrificing a little... using this as defensive tempo instead of offensive tempo, basically. Here we're killing an urban sentry if we click with this, and we're not otherwise, so it probably is worth killing it, right? Wait, what? I said I was going to be perfectly granular this turn, but I forgot. I'm losing all of my granularity to keep the 2 urban sentries alive. Okay, so that's something to consider. So how is this looking? I guess this is fine with a force field. He's losing an attack, so he's attacking for 9. And that's if he clicks the Rhino. I can keep either the Corpus or the Urban Sentry alive, but not both. I think it's important actually to keep the Corpus alive over the Urban Sentry. The Sentry's done its job, it's time for it to die off, probably. To let me get more high-value defenders out of Corpus. Right, with 9 drones I can wall click, and like, that seems pretty good. I'd like to hang on to these nitrocides if I can to, oh no, he's just crumbling, okay. Nice, we don't even have to lose the corpus. And a breach. Don't even have to click the corpus, do I? Yeah, I probably should, though. Well, that was a nice, easy game. I don't know... Boy, look at that graph. I don't know exactly, like, was it really just the early arms race that did it for me? Was it my opponent building red first? I don't know. It's hard for player 1 to get the arms races first. If player 2 wants to commit to it, like I did, a low econ arms race kind of thing, it's really hard for player 1 to get that any earlier. You would have to cut a lot of drones, I think. So I wonder what he could have done differently. Like, I still don't know that this was the right way to play the set, to like go for 11 drone arms race kind of stuff. But supposing I do, what does his defense look like? I think after building the Animus, it's sort of already too late, because you have this kind of crappy turn which says, please start hitting me. And I'm happy to oblige with the arms races. The Corpus doesn't seem very good at all. I don't know, it's an absorber. I think I'd rather have Rhino, honestly, just to like start killing engineers. And then you could build a Nitrocybe as well, for the same amount of money as the Corpus. But really just like not having access to blue is a big bummer. Okay, so that's enough thinking about my opponent. How about what I did? I think that this is a set that justifies an opening like this, right? For the reasons that I said in the game. There's lots of cheap ways to spend a bunch of tech. You aren't going to have to float red. If you ever have any green, you can spend it. And there's like this efficient defender to let you sustain with the... like, while spending your blue on attacking, you can spend your red on defending by clicking Corpus eventually. That did happen eventually, but not right away. And you can make up for the low econ, don't have to float red. You can build Nitrocybes. And given that it is a low econ set, I think this is fine. This is the only possible turn 4 from me, I think. You could consider building a drone instead of this Nitrocybe, but I think that's a bad idea. Or at least an Auric Impulse, which would be better than a drone. But since building the Nitrocybe lets you build a Tarsier next turn anyway, like, what do you want all the extra money for? Just build Arms Race Tarsier. That's the plan this game. Holding Steel Splitter, clearly value. This turn was an interesting one. I think that what I came up with was the right answer. Right, a way to develop a Corpus and not have to hold back the Steel Splitter. Both of those were valuable and they work together. And this lets me go back to building Arms Race, which is nice. Although, as I said, the third Arms Race was not such great value. But it was a good way to spend my tech, so whatever. And it let me get the Urban Sentry on the board, which I greatly appreciated. Having a vigilant attacker, as opposed to a Steel Splitter that has to choose between attacking or defending, or a wall that can't attack. Like, I'm thrilled to get one Urban Sentry out. And I think this turn is also pretty clear, right? We have $12, and there's a very clear way to spend that. Click End Arms Race. And after that, the game was sort of just like, how can you defend? Clicking Corpus. Building the second Urban Sentry was a little bit greedy, I think. but not wrong, as opposed to building a wall. This way I got in a little bit of extra attack, and could later sack the urban sentry when it became necessary, compared to building a wall, which I would have just like sacked right away probably. You know, the downside is I had to force field, but I think that's well worth it to get out another attacker or two. This turn's interesting. I built the wall, which has the effect of saving an urban sentry, right? I could have built an urban sentry instead. That's basically the same board state, but I have one less green next turn, so that doesn't seem great. The two Nitrocybes and Auric Impulse were a play that I sort of stumbled upon. I didn't plan it on the previous turn. I was like, oh, I guess I'm out of corpses, never gonna build any. And then here I spotted this. Like, my idea at first was like, just, well, you know, you have $4 after building one Nitrocybe. What are you gonna do? Are you gonna build a Tarsier? Seems pretty greedy. Right, it seems like we're past the point of the game where you can build something as long-term value as a Tarsier. So I thought, let's just build two Nitrocybes and then I'll build an Engineer or something. But then I realized, like, hey, with $3 I could build an Auric Impulse, effectively floating the $3 till next turn, but gaining another $1 as well, which leaves me with enough to build more Corpuses while still defending. It doesn't defend perfectly if my opponent attacks with everything, but I think it's a good try. And he wasn't able to attack with anything. So, I don't know, like, most of, like, starting around... I mean, around here, I think I'm ahead, but I don't think I've won the game yet. Maybe my opponent can call it something clever. But then he doesn't, and right around here, I think it's basically game over. I have so much more attack, and his Engineers aren't really helping yet. He gets the first Urban Sentry, which is cool, but then when I get the Corpus and the Urban Sentry, it's like completely over. I'm not far enough behind on drones that I'm going to have any issues. So in that sense, everything that came after this is not so important to analyze, but it's interesting to find like ways I maybe could have improved, or explain in more detail why I did the things I did if I wasn't clear about it during the game. I think Corpus and Nitrocybe were just good, and like Urban Sentry and Arms Race kind of work together anyway. So, I don't know, I just went for those things. I think, honestly, my most interesting decision all game was this one. Like, is this right, or should you build more drones and let player 1 get the attack first? I don't think you should let player 1 get attack first. Obviously, they can build Tarsiers before you, right? But your attackers hit actually before theirs do, because you build faster attackers, and you get to build more attackers. So, I don't know, I think that's a good idea. I'd be interested to see like how a better player might play that set, but I think I played it okay. Unoriginal. Yeah, we beat this guy a while ago, and his rating was in like the 1900s, so it was nice to beat him, but I'm not confident I can replicate that. I have no idea what to do in this set. It seems like something fairly high econ, right? But is it green or blue or both? Probably both, right? This is probably worth doing. I don't need the conduit right away, so I can afford to be a little bit greedy in terms of how I get drones. I could do this. Probably fine. Vision turret seems alright, I guess. Start chopping away at those Engineers and we'll be able to harvest it for some green eventually. I think this is better than building more tech. Like, this makes him divert into blue. But it's not the end of the world. Oop, you got me. My Doom Drone's getting value. I didn't expect that when I built it. So probably more drones, right? And I guess a Blast Forge is fine. 2 Blast Forges? Probably not, right? Another Conduit's good, though. Well, a second Blast Forge would let me get a Xeno Guardian out, I guess. Which is in time to get some good value. Yeah, maybe that's the idea. Start with a Xeno Guardian. And more drones. And then I can add in some more green, because Xeno Guardian will spend my tech very cheaply. This fission turret looks stupid opposite his wall, but it's fine. It killed 1 engineer, and it'll produce some green eventually, right? Okay, I'm not so thrilled about the Xeno Guardian right now. But maybe wall first, splitter, conduit. Do we want an Apollo? Probably not. You're not going to build that much that's snipeable. Except my Steel Splitter. Maybe the Steel Splitter's not so great. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should say, go ahead and have an engineer and a Doom drone. No, I think a wall is good, and to go with it, what are you doing but a Steel Splitter? It's just what... I don't think my opponent's going to build anything super snipeable, and I'm going to try to avoid it myself as well. So I think we're not doing Apollo, which means Conduit. If I do this, I can Asteri and Xeno Guardian next turn, which seems pretty great. I can only do it once, and even then I have to hold the Doom. I have to not hold the Doom drone. That's probably too much. No, I think I'm going to try it. I don't like letting the Doom drone go by without value, but I think it's worth it to get the Asteri and the Xeno out at the same time. I don't know. Maybe I could have cut one of the conduits, just built the Xeno, and then like build the Asteri later. But if I do that, he's going to get tempo on Asteris, I think. And that like he'll be able to build some more tech this turn, and then he'll be building the big attackers before I do. Drone count is the same. Okay. He wants Apollo. Is he excited by my single Steel Splitter? I mean, I guess if you want to get it, go ahead. But meanwhile, I've got Asteris. You can't ever use Mahars if your opponent has Apollos. They're just too juicy a snipe target on the turn that they're healing. So we're just not going to do that. I'd love to get an engineer this turn. Then I could actually click fission turret to get more green. Actually, I could do it this turn. Whoa. The fission turret's not doing a lot, is it? It'll kill... I don't know. It'll kill a couple engineers. Would I rather have some green? I'm gonna have trouble building... Yeah, I think it's worth it to get out the second Asteri in a big hurry. And I'm not gonna be able to click it next turn is the problem. So I give up one attack this way. Huh, that means I shouldn't have built this conduit then. Alright, this is a weird play. But I'm gonna give it a try. I have too much blue. I need a couple more drones to be able to build Asteris and Xenos, actually. Now I can do it next turn. I'm floating a bunch of blue this turn, but I don't know. Asteris are so good. And I'm not going to be breach-proof. I just don't want to click these down to 3 or less health. Next turn I can Asteri plus Xeno again. And I just have to hope that this attack tempo is worth the sacrifices that I've made in terms of floating blue, having to click the fission turret early, not getting Apollo. His fission turrets are going to provide a great deal of value in terms of green. My hope... Actually, is he actually able to do this? He's going to have to hold back another Doom Drone if he wants to have all his engineers. Seems like it was worth, wasn't it? Oh, I can't build the Xeno this turn. That sucks. Shouldn't have built this Doom Drone, I guess. Now my Blast Forges look really stupid. Okay, I can hold back a Steel Splitter, which he's going to snipe anyway. Ah, but now he gets the engineer value. Interesting. My bet is he can't make use of all that green, and I'd rather give up the engineer than give up the chance to get this Xeno Guardian. On the other hand, well, yeah. I just need to spend this blue somehow. Continuing to float it is really bad for me. So he has like 12 attack. I can build a Doomed Wall here to defend these guys. He can't snipe that. So he has 11 attack, really, right? Yeah. And if he just has nothing good to snipe, then I'm losing 4, 6. Yeah, this looks right. I'll build another Doomed Wall, I guess, just to spend the... Spend the blue now, so that on a future turn I can just build a Xeno Guardian. Oh, the fission turret is dumb. I should have built a a Gauss Cannon. I forgot about his Apollo. I carefully built those doomed walls so he couldn't snipe. But I forgot about this. So we imagine he's sniping the fission turret now. 4, 7, 10. So this defends reasonably well, and I get out the last Asteri, as well as like NG this, and I float my blue again. No, I just build another Blast Forge. So that I'll have access to Doomed Walls soon if I need them. Or Doomed Mechs or something. I mean, I'm pretty happy about having 4 Asteris versus 0. Obviously, he has some fission turrets, and these Doomed Mechs are cool, but... Like, and he has an Apollo. I don't know. The game still seems close. I don't think either of us is, like, way ahead, but... I guess this might be a point in the game at which you can look back later and say, gosh, one player was way ahead of the other, and I just didn't realize it. I'm not sure who that player is going to be. I hope it's me, who's way ahead of the other guy. But if he just keeps using his Apollo to snipe Blast Forges, that's fine. Right? Like, that's basically the same as sniping a wall. I could have built a wall last turn instead of the Blast Forge. And he could have sniped that. So this is the same effect. And Apollo as a 3 damage attacker is not really all that great. So how's this? Assuming he attacks with everything, which he will, we're having to lose a Xeno Guardian. So we hold this back. And build another Blast Forge. I don't mind whether he leaves me with 1 Blast Forge or 2. I just want to make sure I don't have 0. What? Engineer? Okay, I mean... I guess that is sort of awkward for me, isn't it? Yeah, it's actually quite awkward. I should have maybe force fielded last turn instead of building an engineer. I didn't see this coming. Is this fission turret too greedy? How exploitable am I here if he snipes the engineer? He doesn't really have to snipe anything to make me feel bad, does he? Maybe I'll just do this. One force field makes me a little bit granular. Okay. Let's try this. Now his Doomed Mechs are defending. This is his big, like, power turn, I think. Well, the next couple of turns, he gets a bunch of tempo by not having to defend with... by having the Doomed Mechs available to defend without having to sacrifice attack. But, conversely, he's attacking for less than he was, so... it makes my job easier in some ways as well. Do I need a force field? Not really. I don't think I should click that guy. Let's just do this. I'm already perfectly granular with all these engineers here. So shouldn't I build all the barriers since I know he'll be attacking for enough that the barriers are useful? Yeah. He's very low on walls, but I basically have 0 walls because I don't want to let him snipe any. I don't know, he's sniping my blast torches, which is, you know, as I said, about the same as sniping walls. What? Is that really good? I guess I'm not perfectly granular anymore. Is this enough to be a real problem for me? I don't know. Doesn't seem so great for him. I lose Doom Drone value this way. And I'll build a wall if he wants to snipe. Oh, I don't need a new blast torch. I'll just build a wall or another Doom wall, of course. Sure. I'm perfectly granular. This all seems fine. I don't actually like having this many doomed walls at a time. What if I force fielded and built a doomed mech? Oh, a Xeno Guardian is probably better, right? Cool. So I kind of thought in this set that Apollo would be too slow. And also that with access to doomed walls, you can make the Apollo not only too slow, but also just bad. Even once it's activated. Oh my gosh, stop fast forwarding and rewinding over the emotes, please. So this is sort of a kind of normal opening that is, we've talked about it before. As player 2, if you cut a drone to build Doom Drone NG on turn 1, it transposes to being very similar. You get the same number of drones as if you went DD, DDE, but you have one more Doom Drone and you get more money in the long term. The downside is you can't easily build a conduit on turn 3 unless you cut again to build a Doom Drone. But that seems fine. And I actually was shocked to get defensive value with this Doom Drone against his fission turret. So it turned out way better than I expected. I think this set is sort of more about green than about blue, just because a Stereo Cannon's a pretty high value unit. If Doomed Wall weren't here, Apollo might be worth doing. Although I still think Asteria is so high pressure that it's hard to get the Apollos. I definitely didn't time things great around here. Right, this turn when I built the 2 conduits to let myself get Asteri Xeno, it meant I couldn't get Doom Drone value, which was pretty awkward. And I wound up with more green than I really needed this game. Like, it was great to have as, like, permanent, unending supply of force fields. But at the end of the game, I was floating a ton of green, which was not great. It might have been better to go with just 2 conduits here and try to put off the Xeno Guardian a little bit longer. Get like a Steri plus what exactly? The problem is, right, I committed to this double blue, and I spent a lot of turns this game not spending 2 blue. If I just had like a couple of more drones before I started doing all this stuff, it would have tied together a lot better. but I don't think I can afford the time to build 2 more drones. When Asteri is so clearly valuable. Also, did I click this vision turret really early? Yes, okay. I clicked the vision turret here. This Xeno Asteri I planned for and was like, sad, I won't get the Doom Drone value, oh well. Clicking the fission turret right away in hopes of, like, what exactly? I guess it was just, like, to get another Asteri out, right? I knew I wouldn't get a Xeno, and I had to float all my blue to get the Asteri, and I still thought it was worth it. I don't know if that was true. Like, there must be something better I could have done that doesn't involve clicking a 3 lifespan turret to get out more Asteris. But on the other hand, like, green is pretty amazing this game, and it let me have 3 turns in a row building Asteris, and then another turn later on. And I did actually end up spending all of that green to get these guys going, so it's sad to have wasted the attack, but I think it was hopefully worthwhile. I made some mistakes working around his Apollo. For starters, building a steel splitter. But it was just the only thing to do at that cost, so... And I did need the wall that turn. I think like this is how you punish Apollo, is just have a lot of attackers fast. And don't give them anything too juicy to snipe. Even if Apollo is sniping a wall every turn, it's not very good. You spent 13 blue, blue, blue for a build time 3 attacker that does 3 damage. If all you're sniping is wall. You need to be sniping something more valuable than wall. Blast Forge is, you know, less valuable than wall. I mean, sort of, right? It's a tempo thing, right? Blast Forge costs 5, wall costs 5 blue, therefore wall is more valuable, right? But, well, no, not really. Because if they snipe, I don't know, whatever. The Blast Forge produces 3 health and a blue, while the wall just produces 3 health. So I think it comes out about in the wash. I just need to make sure I never have 0 Blast Forges, because I'll have trouble defending them. But building doomed walls to avoid letting him get actual pressure on me with the Apollo was, I think, a key point in this game. I'm surprised he never sniped a fission turret. It seems like it would have been good. You know, you don't like Apollo to snipe Tarsiers either. I guess his thinking was that, like, sniping a 1 health attacker is, or a 1 damage attacker is not that great. Maybe by sniping my Blast Forges, he can give himself a breach, and that would be how he, like, definitively wins the game. Decisively, I should say. This turn here, I was not granular enough. Should have force fielded, but it's not clear how to do that. Maybe hold back a Doom Drone that... Yeah. Right, he took advantage of that, didn't he? No, he didn't. Interesting. I guess he can't really. Even if he snipes, like... I'm not using the Engineer this turn. I think he did well at choosing Apollo targets, for sure. Is this the turn where I got exploited? Yeah, right? Yeah, killed the Engineer. Which effectively did 3 damage. And on this turn, I absolutely could have force fielded if I'd seen this coming. So this is like... Something to be aware of is that barriers are not granularity. They look granular because they're 1 health defenders, but they're actually soak. Non-granular soak that you have to block with. And if you ever have... The amount of granularity that you have should, in general, you would like it to be at least as much as the amount of absorb that you have. And in this turn, I have only 1 granularity and 3 absorb, which gives my opponent a big opportunity. But, like, to get that opportunity, he had to spend his Apollo sniping a single Engineer. Is that really so great? Like, I don't know. It was a snipe that did 4 damage. which is cool, I guess. I don't know. Because I didn't offer him any walls, this was actually as good as sniping a wall. I think a little bit better. That was the biggest mistake I made on defense, I think. And just like continue to push out attackers. These fission turrets felt extremely greedy, but somehow they worked. And I actually managed to get to harvest one, which was amazing. Asteri's just produced enough value. I don't know. There were some more mistakes here, I'm sure. But I think that the biggest mistake was going for Apollo. I think this set has enough reasons not to get Apollo. I would have loved to get some Doomed mechs, but I just don't have enough drones to do that while also building Asteri's. And he had me under enough pressure that I needed Doomed walls instead of Doomed mechs. Okay, cool. Well, another win. Is that the ticket? It is. Amazing. Got nothing much of interest, as usual. Confirm. And we're at... I think this is about the rating we were at when we started the ticket. Lost a lot more than we won, but we were losing and winning against strong players, it looked like. I can check after the game. It's not so easy to see if they're not on the leaderboard. Can't easily find out their rating, but I believe they were all strongish players. Well, maybe some of them weren't, but beating Unoriginal again feels good. Right? He's the one we beat. Yeah, Unoriginal. There you go. Huh. Well, I guess I've just got his number, huh? Since he's a stronger player than me, but he keeps losing to me. Or maybe I just keep getting player 2. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.